Hello and good morning, you lovely, lovely people. Welcome back again. We've started cleaning this land. We wasn't going to, but more land cleaning. More land. We were going to leave this for a while, but in fact he's coming here now, the man who's doing it. Look, Doi Doi his name. Oh, I've got it wrong way, look, wrong way. Here he comes. And this guy, you can see him walking up. Over there somewhere. Anyway, he's coming and he's been working on this land for a couple of days. And he'll be here for the next couple of weeks, really. Doing it, but he's our next door neighbour, so we don't mind. But what I was going to say was, we got this land here because my wife, as you know, I mean, if you've been following the channel, my wife's got like a fair bit of land in Lilloy, and she sold a bit of land. I'm very surprised, but anyway, she sold a bit of land, and there's more people who's interested in a bit more, but I think that's going to fall through. But the people who bought some, and the money that she got, that's how she bought this, because I didn't buy this, my wife bought this. So my wife is much more wealthier than I will ever be with the land that she has. Not that that land is worth, retiring money, I suppose, but what she's done, she's sold that and she's bought this. So, and this is going to be a fruit orchard, and the idea is, because there is 5 hectares here, so the idea is, this guy here, Doi Doi, he works on the land, and he's from the same tribe as my wife, Menihara, and that's what I want to talk about today, is the Subanon tribe. Anyway, before I move on to that, my wife, she wants to buy this down here, and all down here. So she wants, there's about 2 hectares that are worth nothing because they were old rice fields, so you can't grow fruit trees in there. Now, people have suggested grow different fruit trees, but the way that I see it is to do one thing, like concentrate on these, concentrate on Long Kong only, because you concentrate on one thing and then you're going to be good at it. But you've got too many different things going on, too many different trees, they've got different needs, they've got different patterns how they grow. But if you just concentrate on one thing, then you're going to be better at it. So that's what we're going to do. This is just going to be all Long Kong. So eventually, my wife wants to do it ASAP, but I'm lazy, people. I'm lazy, I am. I do what I can, and I do, when I can do it. But so the idea is she'll buy all of this, and there'll be more people here working, I expect. But Doi Doi, he's 60 years old. 60 years old he is, and he's more active than I am. He just goes and goes and goes. And like I said, he's from the Subanon tribe, and he's got land. And this is what I want to talk about, is the Subanon. Now, they are indigenous to the Philippines, and the Subanon tribe have lost a lot of lives over the years because they owned, they still do own, but they owned a lot of land in the Philippines. And because of one thing or another, the colonization of the Americans and also the Spanish, they lost a lot of land, and it was just taken from them, because most of the land that they got was, it was through ancestral rights. So back then, like 600 years ago, there was no titles, or anything like that, but it was passed down through ancestors, and it was passed down. It was all hereditary. So, and then of course logging and mining came along, and they just took the land off them, and they lost a lot of land. And the big fat cats, they become very, very wealthy. And the Subanon tribe is like indigenous to this peninsula of Zamboanga. And that's why where I live here, there are many Subanon. People call them Subanon, Subanen. And my wife is telling me lots and lots of stories, what she was told that was passed down, from her grandmother. And I suppose her grandmother was passed down from her, mother and grandmother and that. And she remembers the time, because my wife, she used to live in Lilloy, up in the mountains. But the reason they lived up in the mountains was because years and years ago, they were pushed out from the rivers, which they used to, live around, because that's what it means. It means, Subanon means people of the river. And their religion is it's more spiritual, you know. Um, the spirits live in the river and in the mountains and on the land. And my wife, she's still like that to a degree, but she's Catholic. She's a Catholic. But there's many at Penilly who are Penilly. There are many Subernen who have converted to being Catholic and even Islam as well, especially the ones who live by the ocean. So my wife was telling me, and many actually take up a religion called Penilly. I don't know what it's about, but it's not, it's a good religion, I think. I don't think it's like an aggressive religion or anything like that. Is there an aggressive religion? I don't know. I suppose that depends on the opinion, I suppose. But getting back to the to the Subernon and how they lost all of their land, because there was no rights, there was no titles, so it was easily taken off them. But now the Subernon are fighting to reclaim their land back. And not far from me, there was a big lake, and I can't remember what it's called. Lake Mullalan or something like that. And all around there is Subernon who live there. And it's not far from me, maybe 5 kilometres. And we've been there several times. It's beautiful. It's like a nature reserve there now. And there is no fishing allowed in the lake because the Subernon believe that in that lake is spirits, and the spirits don't want you to take all of the fish out of there and things like that. So they do, preserve things. And that's why my wife knows so much about the land. But she's very, very superstitious. And who am I to say, well, that's a bit stupid, which I used to, before, but now I don't, because that's her superstitions. But Subernon are very superstitious people. And they lost a lot of their lives because of land disputes. And it still goes on today, my wife was saying. It's just, you don't really hear, too much about it. And that sun's probably behind in the camera. I'm sorry about that, people. Oh yeah, but as you can see, all the brush has been cleaned for me now, because it's travelling up, and there's Doi hard at work, while the sun is still coming up over that part. But yeah, my wife was saying lots of stories where even some of her distant relations have lost their lives through land disputes. And here where I am, there are a lot of gold mines. There's one Phil Gold or something it's called, or something like that. It's not far from here. It's when we go over to where my boat used to be. Well, it's still there, but it doesn't belong to me no more. But that was taken off the Subernon tribe, and they are still mining there now. And what they do, I'll move over here a little bit, that's what I'm going to do, because that sun's burning my neck. So what they do, they take the land, and then they employ the people who they've took the land off to go down these dangerous holes in the ground. And I've seen them, people, and I was going to do a video about it. The next time I'm over there, I will take you to the gold mine, and I will, if they let me in, I'm sure they will, just so I can do a video of these guys working down these mines, getting the gold out. And it's not gold nugget here, it's gold flake. And they extract it with mercury and all poisonous stuff. It's a dangerous job. I see them go down these holes. You think, my goodness. And if it collapses, which it often does, you don't get out. But you don't hear about that. There is no news coverage of people dying in these mines. But like I said, they take the land, or they did take a lot of land here. I mean, I don't know how many hectares, many hectares. They just took it. And that was about 80 years ago, I believe, so I was told. And they just employ the people who they took it off to, for slave labour, going down these holes and getting the gold. And they don't see a lot of money. And that's how it happens here, people. It's but now there is more protection for the Subernon, but it's still difficult, I've been told from my wife, to get these titles now. Now, the land that my wife got from her grandmother, that was also inherited from her grandmother's side of the family from years and years and years ago. And there was also land that was given to the other side of the family, which was disputing the land, right? But they sold their land ages ago, and they sold it for pennies, more or less, because they just wanted the money. So they sold their land for pennies. And now that's why they were disputing the land that my wife's got. They wanted some of that because they'd had their land years and years and years ago, but sold it for nothing. And what they used to do here, and I think they still do, is these people that are in the mountains, the Subanon tribe, and they normally have lots of kids. My wife is one of 10 or 11 siblings. A lot, isn't it? And what they normally do, because they are farmers, they are generally farmers, and they have a lot of kids because they see that as they can help them farm the land, which is a ridiculous way of thinking. They should be thinking of education and sending their kids to school, which is why my wife left Lilloy when she was younger, and then she went to live with her auntie in Dipolog because she wanted an education. And she did, she majored, she finished her university, and she majored. She hasn't put it into practice yet, though, because she got with me, and we've got a couple of kids now and stuff like that. So maybe she will when the kids get a bit older. I don't know. But the rest of the family, from the brothers, they all work on the land, and they didn't have an education because the way that the parents see it, well, do you want to go to school, or do you want to help me on the land where you can earn some money, or you can earn them some money? And it's a terrible way of thinking. Her father, he's a nice man, he's a quiet man, he doesn't say a lot, but he is just a farmer through and through. What he doesn't know about farming is probably not worth knowing. But the attitude that they have is, we'll have lots of kids, and we'll work them on the land, And my wife is the opposite of that, and that's why she wanted to get out of that. My wife's got some stories where she was 8 or 9 years old, and she was in the woods with carabao, chopping this and chopping that, and making brushes out of the nipa, or the coconut palms, making the brushes. She used to do that, and she'd go door to door selling them at 8 years old. For whatever they were, they're 2 or 3 pesos, I suppose, back then. And that's why she's good with her hands. She knows how to do this, she knows how to do that, because she was brought up in that environment. But she said she doesn't want to go back to that, and that's why she got like an education. And fair play to her. That's what she wanted to do, and fair play to her auntie as well, who took her on. But my wife was a working student in her auntie's house, so she was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, sweeping up, doing the cooking and cleaning and the washing, just so her auntie would support her fees in the school. And that's what they do here. They have like a lot of working students to help around the house, and then in turn the people who have these working students pay for their education, which is a good deal. I think it's a good deal. But it's the Subanon, from what I've been told from my wife, it's similar to, the Native Americans, Arizona or places like that, where their land was taken off of them for, the railways and all them sort of things that happened. And it's a similar thing here, when these big corporations want something, back in them days, they just took it, and gave nothing back in return. But there is some government help now, and also here for the indigenous, for the Subanon, there are government handouts, and it's called Ayoda, and there's a few different names for it, where they, every so often the what do you call them? The congressman of this particular area will say, right, this week we be here at this time, and they pay it out. They give money to the to the indigenous Subanon people. But over the course of the years, as my wife has said to me, they kind of losing it a little bit, because they just turn into drink and gambling and all that sort of stuff, because they've got nothing else to do now, where the land's been taken off them. Some of them have still got land, but they probably sell it for, like, my wife's family. When they sold their land years and years ago for nothing, they just, because they wanted the money, they didn't see any potential. They, as my wife said, many of them are drinkers now, these days, and gambling. You're subbing on, Doy, aren't you? Subbing on. Subbing in. Yeah, Doy is Subbing tribe. My son's half Subbing, isn't he? Because my wife is pure, and I am not. So, my son is 50% Subbing. That makes a difference or not, I don't know. But my wife loves working on the land, and that's why she likes to do this. That's why, she always doing bits and pieces, before the baby was born. Even Kaylin, always doing things. I used to watch and think, oh, look at her. Then she'd be out in the sun, and she's not one of these Filipinos, who go out in the sun with an umbrella, or she doesn't, and she goes black. She literally goes black. And I see many Filipinas here, they walk around with, they put a thing over their head, or they hold an umbrella so they don't get suntanned. But my wife, it doesn't bother her at all, which I like that. She doesn't want to be white. She is what she is. She's a sort of person who calls a spade a spade. She's just that way. That's how she is. Innocent, really, I suppose. But yeah, that's the plan with this place. When my my wife wants to buy this, which she has, and she's in negotiations with the landowner on here about a discount, because we're buying large sections of it, and so far there's been no discount at all. So she's in negotiations about getting a larger portion of this land at a discounted rate, because we've been buying this at the rate that this lady sells it at. If you're buying 100 square meters, or you've got this, we've got over 3,000 now, which will be, this will be a few, 2 or 3 hectares in the finish. But as I said to Mary, I can't manage all that. We're going to have to get people in. But yeah, that's okay. We've got like the likes of Doy and his brother and all that, And we pay Doy 500 pesos a day, because I think working on the land is difficult. It's not easy. Maybe the working part of it is not so bad. It's not like lifting bags of cement and things like that, but it's working in this heat. And the sun's beating down and he's out in it. And he just wears a little, like, his t-shirt around his head, and away he goes. But so that's the plan with this. And like I said, it's for the future people. I'll be dead and gone. But this is for the future of my wife and my sons. And what a good way to be. What a good way. And like I said, I didn't buy the land. I couldn't afford to, to buy all of this. But my wife can. She has. And it hasn't come out of her pocket as such. It's come out of her grandmother's land that was inherited to my wife. So she's doing something with it. And fair play to her, fair play to her. And I can't really say on here, because other people might see the video, like members of the family and stuff. So there's other bits that I could say, but I don't want to. But yeah, so this is going to continue over here to those mahogany trees, and all over here, and a long way down here. But there's a part down there that's no good. I think there's about 2,000 or 3,000 square meters that is no good, purely because it was a rice field and it's in a dip, it's in a hollow, so that's no good at all. But we will continue here, and watch this space for progress. So once this is all cleaned, and oh god, let's look at it. Just look at work. But Doy loves it. He loves it, Doy. He loves it. He's a good boy, Doy. He's our next door neighbour. And there'll be a lot more trees in here. I think there'll be over, in the end, I don't know how many trees will be planted in here, but there'll be a heck of a lot. But that's it, people. I just thought I'd give you a little bit of history that my wife told me, and I thought I'll pass it on to you. It's something different, isn't it? It's something different, and I'm going to back to the house now because it's too hot for my back. So people, listen, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support as well. The newer subscribers and the continuation of me making content, which was an encouragement from you guys. So I really appreciate that. And down here, see, all down here. All what you can see is, Mira's going to buy it. Not me, my wife. My son's calling me. We've got to have a tip run today. We've got to go to the tip, dump some stuff off. Nappies and things like that. But people, listen, thank you very much. I'm going to stand on that coconut tree because that's going to come down and kill me. I'm over and out. Whatever you're doing, do it well, people. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.